So I went to look up the word despicable to see if Maxwell's picture was next to it, but alas, it wasn't there, which is what I expected, because it was right next to the term human filth, where her picture belongs. Y'all, today we're going to be talking about Epstein's former gal pal, Mrs. Maxwell, the one, the only. This is beyond my scope. Now, specifically, I'm going to be talking about a few key points in the indictment against her. Y'all, I honestly am kind of surprised nothing has happened to her yet, and am totally waiting for that, because the tea and the scandal and the disgust that was in this indictment is beyond anything I can think of. So here we go. Now, y'all, the first two paragraphs literally just spell it out to a T. I'm going to go ahead and read those two verbatim. Paragraph 1. Maxwell assisted, facilitated, and contributed to Jeffrey Epstein's abuse of minor girls by, among other things, helping Epstein to recruit, groom, and ultimately abuse victims known to Maxwell and Epstein to be under the age of 18. The victims were as young as 14 years old. They were groomed and abused by Maxwell and Epstein, both of whom knew that certain victims were in fact under the age of 18. Now, y'all, the level that they took this to gets just despicable. Now, let's go to paragraph 2. As part and in furtherance of their scheme to abuse minor victims, Maxwell, the defendant, and Epstein enticed and caused minor victims to travel to Epstein's residences in different states, which Maxwell knew and intended would result in their grooming for and subjection to certain types of abuse. Moreover, in an effort to conceal her crimes, Maxwell repeatedly lied when questioned about her conduct, including in relation to some of the minor victims described herein when providing testimony under oath in 2016. Now, y'all, the indictment goes into like the various forms and methods that Maxwell would use to groom and recruit these girls. So we're going to review some of that as well as some of the victims. One thing that just jumps right out to me is how much time, energy, and effort Maxwell, both obviously Maxwell and Epstein, but I'm speaking specifically to Maxwell in this, how much of that, all that she put into victimizing these young people. This was plotted, this was methodical, it was disgusting. I keep thinking, you know what, somebody with this much money, this much privilege, this much entitlement, this much everything, I'm like, this is what you choose to do with that? Like, this is what you choose, is to victimize people in one of the most heinous, disgusting ways. This isn't how you treat human beings at all. Now, the tactics that she would use is, she would basically befriend these people. She would ask things about their family, their schools, essentially just pretending to be friends with them, showing an interest in these young people. Obviously, this is to build up trust. She would take them shopping, things of this nature. Once she had done that level of the grooming, then she would start to try and normalize behaviors that should not be normalized. So Maxwell would undress in front of them. She would talk about really risque stuff in front of them. She would be there when they were undressing or changing clothes. Things that are super creepy and super wrong, but clearly trying to break down their boundaries. Now, also, she would be there during some of the times that Epstein was abusing these girls. And the indictment says that, she did this because having the presence of an older woman there, kind of put the girls at ease to, ease them into the abuse. And again, I'm sitting here and I'm like, of all the things you could be doing in life, this is what you're doing, and using, again, your position, your gender, all this stuff to victimize these people. It's absolutely repulsive. Now, the indictment goes on to say that in some of the instances, Epstein, he would offer to pay for educational opportunities, travel, things of this nature. They would essentially find these girls who could, benefit financially from certain things and use this as a tactic of manipulation. Now, Maxwell will be there encouraging the girls to take these opportunities, and then they would make them feel indebted to them. Now, it also states that, Maxwell was there for some of the abuse between Epstein and the victims, but that Maxwell herself was also abusing them in this way. The indictment focuses in on 3 victims. So for victim 1, Maxwell met her when she was 14 years old. And it says that Maxwell, between the years of 94 and 97, she interacted with this girl at Epstein's place, knowing full well that she was under 18. Now it says during these interactions is when they were grooming her, and within a year of knowing her, the abuse started. Now it says that the victim was enticed to travel between state lines or over state lines to go to Epstein's different properties where he would abuse her at each. Victim 2, the indictment says that Maxwell interacted with her at Epstein's New Mexico ranch. And it says, again, Maxwell 100% knew this girl was under 18. And the same MO was applied in the grooming techniques. They, built this fake friendship, this fake trust, all this stuff. And when all that was all in place, then the abuse started. It says that the abuse began through Maxwell giving the girl unwanted massages, as well as having the girl give Epstein massages where more abuse occurred. Now, victim 3 took place in London. And again, the same MO was used, this, fake friendship, fake trust, yada, yada, yada. And then the abuse began soon thereafter. So then on top of that, like if that's not bad enough, then they are hitting her up. And I'm going to say the charges here in just a minute. They're hitting her up with perjury because she was lying to keep her own, butt out of trouble, as well as Epstein. I mean, she denied all this stuff, even with evidence clearly pointing to it. So now let's go over the exact charges. Maxwell is charged with 1 count of enticing a minor to travel to engage in illegal acts which carry a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. 1 count of conspiracy to entice a minor to travel to engage in illegal acts which carries a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. 1 count of transporting a minor with the intent to engage in criminal activity which carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. 1 count of conspiracy to transport a minor with the intent to engage in criminal activity, which carries a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. There's also 2 counts of perjury, which each carries a maximum of 5 years in prison. Y'all, like I said in the beginning, I'm honestly still surprised that she's alive. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Y'all, this woman holds a key to some major information that can bring some major players down. And so I am very curious to see what takes place. She has been hiding out. She's essentially been on the run. And I mean, I guess they've been building evidence up, whatever, and they got her. And it's not going to be a cute look for her. I mean, this woman knows a lot of people in power. I am just holding tight with a thing of popcorn to see what happens to this horrid individual who is exactly where she belongs. Check out my other videos up here if you want to see my commentary on other cases and more as we follow this one. Thank you for hanging out. I'll talk to you soon.